All right.
All right. Week three. So we had another 2 and 3 week last week. So 4 and 6 overall. Um, bit of a different path to our 2 and 3 record. So Bowen and I each picked up our first win of the season. So Bowen, you were on the Chiefs.
Yep.
Uh, I was on the Cowboys,
Yep.
and Kieran, you did fall on the grenade for me. You did save that sec, so I will give you
True.
that with the luck of the draw. Kieran dropped to 1-1 on the season with his Giants pick, although showed a lot of moxie there at the end. Battling back, almost
Tons.
put it out. Um, but then we lost both primetime games. Felt like we got fucked in that Pats game.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I thought there was a bullshit pass interference call that they call that extended that drive before the Pats got it at the end there, and then that last play. I mean, you know, look, did he reach the line? I don't know, maybe not, but I don't know how you overturn that.
It
Tremendous.
wasn't conclusive. No, there was no
Yeah.
definitive answer there. I mean,
And also just like how do you win the game on that? Like
yeah.
read the room.
Yep.
Um and then Monday night just kind of feel like we got fucked a little harder on Monday night. Uh
Yeah.
there was the pick six and then the strip sack there towards the end of the game, late in the fourth for another touchdown. We were actually covering at that point. Because I think we were up three. It was like 22-19 or something. And then they had that strip sack, returned it for a touchdown, 26-22 lead. All of a sudden, we're outside the number. And then Watson did absolutely nothing on that final drive. Just uh
Sucks.
just not great. Not great.
No.
But 2 and 3 could have been worse. So again, 4 and 6 on the year. Interestingly enough, I think I sent you this guys, but looks like there's only like two picks that are 10-0, two entries
Saw that.
that are
Yeah.
10-0. So that a little telling, I think, maybe of how things have gotten off to how the start of the season's gone. So 4 and 6, not out of it, but we do need to get need to put together a couple big weeks here. I think coming up and just make sure that we don't slowly kind of fall behind. Early.
September's a hard month to pick football games.
It is.
There's just
It
a
is.
lot of rust, a lot of
Oh,
rust. I feel like each episode we've touched on it. Just a lot of guys getting back in the swing of it. So it's tough. And those numbers, you're right. There really weren't that many teams, doing overly well. I feel like the majority was just right in the middle there with us. So
but I
we're right.
thought
We're right in the mix.
I thought too, like, week two overall, I think we were much sharper, much better than week one. I mean,
Yeah.
there were people in week one that we were just like, we weren't even close.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't even close. And even with that Giants game, we came roaring back there at the end and, you know, did have an outside shot to cover if they had been able to score a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal. But and then with both of those primetime games, like we were in it. So yeah, I thought we were just better overall in the picks. So again, I think something to build on and see if we can be a little bit more successful here in week three and start building a nice little run. Kieran, anything to add on week two?
No, I thought it was a good week. Now, we're all on the board, so that's good. We've all, seen the ball go in the hoop. So, I feel like we've all got that weight off our shoulders. Maybe we can play a little more loose
Yep.
moving forward. But, we're due for a big week. I think that we're, three brains that like to kind of, zag when everybody else zigs or, however you want to put it. And I feel like around this time of year, there's always like that, just like, almost like, red wedding or some type of shit like that where, the public just gets absolutely slaughtered. And I feel like, the way that we think, and I feel like the way that we're picking, where it's our, all submitting our own, I feel like that's a good way to try to avoid that. And I feel like we're due for a big one. And I think it's going to come up. I mean, we've been close, like you said, this past week. We're much sharper. And I mean that Giants one that would have been huge for morale if we could have pulled off that comeback on 3-0 on our picks. Would have felt great. But yeah, I mean, I feel good about this week.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing talking about the standings is that, yeah, I mean, sure, we're maybe on the wrong side of the bell curve, but it's still very much clustered in the middle. We're 2 weeks in, a 4-1, a 5-0, all of a sudden, that flips things for us. So I think that's just what we got to try and strive for.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Should we spin the wheel? I think we're gonna go a little bit of a different approach this week with the wheel. So we're each gonna have more entries on the wheel. Just to see if we can kind of mix up. I mean, even though the odds are still the same.
I feel like when it's 3 people and it's just 3 big slices, I do think it makes a difference to split it up like this. But,
I agree.
We'll see. We'll see if we can get Bowen out of the basement on these spins.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. First spin. You guys see it, right?
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Look at that. Hold on. Yeah, we got
Like
it.
Denby.
Yeah,
Let's go.
someone did it.
Thank God.
Unbelievable.
Wow, the vibes are nuts.
Oh,
That
remove
felt
all
so
this.
good. That felt better than I thought it would.
That's crazy.
We definitely rigged it. That's like the
Shit.
Well, it's like we're now out of the dead ball era, and all of a sudden, the game has just changed for Zach.
I just had a crazy weight lifted off my shoulders. I feel free. Getting that first win or pick right last week was big, but I think the wheel landed on me almost was a better feeling. So yeah, I'm ready. So do I just go right into it? Or?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going Pats minus 2.5. I love the Pats this week. I think it's a game we've seen before, especially the past couple of years. I just don't think. I think the Pats defense is just a lot. Just a lot to handle. I think they're pretty elite. Added a lot of guys. Christian Gonzalez is, maybe the best, rookie in the league right now, just overall in a general sense. He's really been shutting down. What he did against Tyreek last week was incredibly, impressive. I think the Jets, obviously we've talked about them. Huge story week 1, no Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson's just gonna be the quarterback, it looks like, for at least I would say the first half of the season. They're gonna give him a shot. Don't think he's the guy. Don't think that even at home, I don't think it makes much of a difference. Belichick will scheme him up. I think it might be a sloppy game, just in a general sense, but 2.5 is, I think a pretty good number to go with. And I like the spot for the Pats to pick up their first win of the season.
Yeah, I'm glad you took it because somebody was going to have to. It's just this type of matchup should just be an instant play for anybody that has any type of brain cells, right? Because it's Bill Belichick versus a dog shit quarterback. We've seen how Zach Wilson plays against Bill Belichick, or we should say how Bill Belichick schemes against Zach Wilson. He just cannot get it done. This Jets team, they're losing all the wins out of their sails. Breece Hall is upset, Garrett Wilson's upset. Sauce Gardner's upset. This team, they've already lost it this early into the season. Everybody saw it coming. The Jets, anytime that you think it's going to get better, it actually gets way worse. You got to play. It's Belichick against the Jets. The Jets haven't beat Mac Jones. We got to go with it.
Yep. Yeah, it was actually my top pick. So
I had a feeling it was going to be somebody's top pick. Yeah,
but I can't see the Pats going 0-3, and I think the fact that the number is inside of a field goal like that, to me, it's like if you think the Pats are going to win, you take a minus 2.5. Even just looking as recent as last year, what they did to Zach Wilson, and the Jets, and it's one of those things. Like I think you just don't overthink it.
Yep. Yeah, and it's also the weather. I believe it calls for rain throughout the morning, afternoon. So I think the only way the Jets could maybe catch the Pats off guard is if Garrett Wilson gets loose, Breece Hall gets loose. I think it might be a little bit more difficult to do that. Find the space there. With the weather not being ideal. So I think that also might play a factor where the Pats just kind of get him into a grinded out game and they're not skilled enough to grind it out. Yeah. Pats minus 2.5.
Log it in.
Yep.
All right, back to the wheel.
Back to the wheel.
All right. All right.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going with the Cowboys minus
Mm.
12 and a half. I did have some second thoughts after the Diggs news. That is a big blow to the defense, but that defense is still pretty stacked, and they just have a lot of ball hawks. Dan Quinn, he really centers his defense around, ball hawk, and I think that this is going to be, just a bad team or good team beating up on a bad team. We just saw, the Cowboys cover a big spread against the Jets. I think that they can do the similar thing here against the Cardinals. The Cardinals, they're coming off a huge blown lead. And I think that for a team, I feel like we've seen that in the past where, these tanking teams, they actually start off playing a little, tough and being, past the better teams and, scaring them a little bit. But they blew like a 20-point lead. And, they did that at home. This was like the first home game in the Jonathan Gannon era. Jonathan Gannon, he's like a total weirdo. I think this is going to be a Josh Dobbs death game too. I just feel like this is like, that's like something that you can't really come back from. I feel like this is where the Cardinals finally sink into the tank. And I think that this offense, Dak, I think the Cowboys, they're looking to make a statement this year. I think that, Mike McCarthy, he knows that he's on the hot seat now. It feels like they just have something that going. And I feel like early in the season, especially, the Cowboys are going to keep it up. If they're going to collapse, it's going to happen late season. So I'm going to take the good team playing against a really bad team. And I think this is going to be, a 2-touchdown win easy.
I think it's a good pick. I didn't have it in my top 3, but it was a game I looked at.
Yep.
I did pause a little bit with the with the Diggs news, but it was, I think, like you, Kieran, it was one of those things where I'm like, and I kind of had a similar thought. I didn't put it on the board, but I had a similar thought with the Jaguars Texans game because the Texans just lost their top, one of their top secondary guys too, and I'm like, is that really going to sway the pick? Is that enough to sway the pick? And I think, to your point, it's a really good team against a really bad team. I know the Cardinals have been tough, but they did blow that big lead, so momentum, could be rock bottom. So I think it's I like the pick. And I think the fact, like, you mentioned at the top of the call too, like, kind of a good time of the year. Like, we do have a tendency to like to kind of zig when, others are zagging or, and, I think big points like that, a big spread, a lot of times that can scare some people away. I think embracing the big spread and just going with it, I like it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I did see it. I didn't have it on my board necessarily. Kind of got scared from the number. Just ran away from it. But I mean, it's safe to say I think that the book's out on Josh Dobbs. In a general sense, I don't think he's going to be able to string together. I think he played pretty well, to begin the season, but I don't think he's going to continue to play the way he had last week before they, gave up the lead. He did have some moments, but I think those are pretty much it for the year. Tony
Like
Pollard,
we see it all the time too with these
right?
tanking teams, right? It's like, at some point, they might look like they might, be able to squeeze out some wins, but then the wheels just fall off. And I feel like blowing that type of lead, is exactly that type of catalyst for that. So yeah, and they also did that against the Giants. The Giants are clearly not a team that's as strong as the Cowboys as well. So I think the Cowboys, as much as everybody makes fun of them and they do seem to collapse every year, they do start off like every season really strong. So I think they just come out and put their foot on their throats. And I think being inside of 2 touchdowns makes me feel really comfortable about it.
The Cowboys' offense is insanely talented. They have, however you feel about Dak, I understand either way. But CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, they should really have their way against this
It could be
against this
24-7
defense.
at half, and then you can kind of
Yeah,
shoot in the second half.
yeah.
Or, you just got to outscore them by a touchdown each half, and I'm feeling good about it.
Mm.
All right, back to the wheel.
Let's do it.
I fucking love spinning the wheel with with just one name. Gets
All
me
right.
every time.
Is that me?
Yep,
Yep.
you're
All
up.
right. All right, I'm going Titans plus 3.5 against the
Hell
Browns.
yeah.
They're 2-0 against the spread, 1-1 straight up. I just like the way that the Titans have been playing. They've been a little chippy early. I think they let that week 1 game get away from them against the Saints a little bit, but I really like the way that they responded against the Chargers last week. That this is a team too. Karen, I think you and I have talked about them, liking them for the division. I think they always play hard under Vrabel. The Browns obviously they're going to be without Chubb this week. I know, what was it? Was it Jeremiah Ford or something? Is that his name? Kieran, you should know, you drafted him in the last round.
Oh, Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford. I
Talking
know
about, isn't there like a Daniel Jeremiah? I was thinking.
I
I
don't
thought you were
know.
gonna say somebody had
Oh,
a
that's like a
yeah.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. I know he filled in admirably after Chubb went out last week, and he was a huge pickup on the waiver wires, but this isn't fantasy. I think I think the Titans getting 3.5 in a game where, even with Chubb, I think they're two fairly even compatible teams. And now without one of the better running backs in the league, I like the Titans odds to cover 3.5 points here. I think they're playing hard. They've gotten off to a good start. They're coming off a big win in week 2. Browns have a bit of a short week, and they're having to kind of wrap their heads around what the hell just happened to their top guy. Maybe confidence wavering a little bit around their boy Deshaun. So yeah, I like the Titans getting 3.5.
Yeah, I had them. They
Yeah.
were in my top 5 as well. And that was the team there. I was kind of thinking, especially, like I said, after the Diggs injury, I was thinking maybe I could move on to that or something else. But yeah, I feel like the Titans, they could play a similar game to what the Steelers did. Obviously, you can't bank on having that same touchdown luck with the pick 6 and then the scoop and score, but they can play like a tough game on defense like that and attack that Browns offense. A little bit more and really create that chaos. And Deshaun Watson, at what point, are we going to start to question if he's going to ever get back to what he was? I mean, they were even talking about it during the game where I think his last season in Houston, he threw for, 70% of his passes, completion percentage. On the Browns, he's under 60%. And it's like, at some point you got to say, well, maybe he's not going to find that touch again. And you could see it in that game last week where, he just didn't have that touch around the sidelines. His deep balls weren't hitting. And, he was holding on. He didn't have like that pocket awareness. He was holding on to the ball too long, taking a lot of sacks, not getting out of the pocket at all. So, I think the Titans, they can play a tough game on defense, and I think the offense can control the pace just like they did last week, to just kind of run the ball. And, especially they have what seems like somewhat of a two-headed attack now with Derrick Henry and Tajay Sharp. And then, of course, Deshaun Watson, and then Traylon Burks was, showing his ability as a deep threat. So I think that the Titans could play a similar game offensively to what they did last week. And then they can kind of copy, a lot of what the Steelers did last week as well to, play against that Browns offense. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I think it's a good number. Especially getting the hook on that as well. It's going to be a close game. Titans, I feel like, only play close games. But they it's almost like credit to them. They win a lot of those close games, and I think it's a testament to Vrabel. I really like Mike Vrabel. I think he's a spectacular head coach. I'm not too high on Stefanski. And coming off a huge, Kieran talked about it, but huge emotional loss. From Chubb, just going down. I feel like by all accounts, he was super liked in the locker room, was a leader, was kind of like a quiet guy, but like a really good guy. And I feel like losing a guy like that, who's just been around and been a staple in the locker room, is just going to be a massive loss for a team that might be a little lost. With a quick turnaround going into Sunday. I like Jerome Ford a lot, but the offense is definitely going to take a step back. I don't know how big of a step, but definitely some sort of step back And Deshaun sucks. Fuck him. So,
bad.
yeah, I like the pick.
Even if it doesn't take a step back, it's not like the offense has been playing well to begin with. So
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Titans, like you said, they always play in the close games. Very able, he can, keep the team up for these types of games. And, I think it's just like a normal daytime game anyways. So I think that they'll just go in, run the shit out of the ball. And yeah, I think that they can just grind out, a close win or, a close loss.
Yep.
And all we need, even if they lose by a field goal, if it comes down to that, then, we're well inside of that. So,
And I do got to say, Derrick Henry is due for like a massive run. He hasn't had one this year. I don't believe. I think he's just gonna rip one because he's Derrick Henry. So I've been feeling that. Yeah, gonna hop on a player prop for sure this weekend for King Henry.
Might be good for your DFS lineups as well.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I laid out a stinker in that DraftKings.
I'll send it to you every week.
I came in 20th out of 20. Oh, I'll do it every week, but I had the worst showing first time around. So
no worries. It's clean slate.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, on to the Sunday night game.
Let's do it. So we're doing just to clarify, we're doing the Steelers Raiders game, right? And then we're doing the Rams and Bengals, and not because there's two. What's up with these two Monday night games?
I
don't know, man. This has never happened before,
what are we
right?
doing?
Right.
Yeah, what are we doing? Like
they've done it like before, but they did it at different times. Like they had like a West Coast game that started like closer to 10 instead of doing like 7 and 8. So yeah, just kind of.
I feel like they're trying to integrate this and act like they do it every year, and just feel like it's like part of like the normal NFL schedule. This is brand new.
They're getting too cute over there.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
All right. We'll go back to the wheel. See who's going to kick it off.
I hate this game, by the way. What a terrible Sunday night game.
Yeah, I hate having a bet on the Steelers, or not on the Steelers, but a game involving the Steelers.
Just having to bet on either of these teams.
It's a burden. It's an absolute burden.
All
right, Kieran.
Let me get to my where am I? All right, Steelers Raiders. Steelers plus 2.5 at Raiders, right?
Yep.
I'll take the home team in this one. I like the Raiders minus 2.5. I think the Steelers, they are coming off like a pretty crazy win. They did have a lot of it wasn't luck. They did create those touchdowns on defense, but that's not something that you can rely on week to week. Jimmy Garoppolo, he is a winning quarterback, and the Raiders, they haven't looked so bad. Of course, they didn't look great against the Bills, but I think the Bills were they needed to bounce back as well in that week. And I think the Raiders at home, the Steelers coming off of that win, I go with the home team. I feel like the line kind of stinks. I feel like it's screaming Steelers. Because of that, I want to go the other side. I don't know where you guys stand on it.
Tristan, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say.
I had Steelers getting the points. I think this is just me betting on TJ Watt over Jimmy Garoppolo in prime time. I thought the Raiders looked awful last week. And even in week one, it was like, I wasn't blown away with how they looked. I think this is just, it's another case of, I know we talked about Tomlin as an underdog in week one, but, at the end of the day, like it was the Niners. And I think, Bowen, as you said before we started recording on this, it's like the Niners are a wagon. Like they're going to be an anomaly all year. I don't know who stops them. So, it's kind of one of those games, like you just throw it out, you throw out the tape. I think the Raiders are probably more on par with a team like the Browns, which is what we just watched on Monday night. And defense looked great. Offense, still isn't clicking, but quite frankly, neither is the Raiders. And I think that, to me, I look at the two defenses and I want to take the defense getting the points. That's the Steelers. I just feel like it's going to be one of those games we're going to be watching and Chris Collinsworth is just going to be drooling over TJ Watt all night. If that's the case and I have to listen to that, I'd like to be on the side with TJ Watt.
Yeah, I think this is the exact matchup that you led with. I had the TJ Watt versus Jimmy Garoppolo. This is the exact type of quarterback that TJ Watt just tees off on because he doesn't move very well. Um, he could easily have like a 3 sack game. Uh, that being said, though, I don't think TJ Watt wins 2 games in a row for the Steelers. Just in a general sense, I don't think it happens 2 weeks in a row. I'm gonna go Raiders. I think that offense for the Raiders. You like that?
You
Like
had me.
that?
Not gonna lie, you had me at the
I
stop.
had to bring a little spice, you know. I had to bring a little spice. I like the Raiders. I like the Raiders to look better on offense. I don't think they're gonna be uh good, but I think they'll be better. They have to run the ball better. Josh Jacobs is better than like he had like what 10 carries for like 10 yards or something crazy or something even worse.
Yeah, it's like pretty
Matt
much like every
Ryan.
carry he's had has been for like 5 yards or less this season.
Yeah, I just think that he's gonna take it personal that he's playing bad because he's that kind of dude. He's gonna be running real hard. I don't think he like
And he also missed out on,
having
the whole preseason, so he's going to take his
yeah
speed.
yeah exactly. And I just think Jimmy Garoppolo's okay enough to lead them. Uh I don't love the spread. I don't love the number. But I do like the Raiders to pull this one out.
Yeah, like Tristan, I think everything that you said is very valid, but also,
Completely
to your
valid.
point
Completely
about,
valid.
a
Yes.
game where, the announcers are drooling over TJ Watt and he's, you winning them the game. We just saw that. We just got that game. So, I feel like that's like the perfect spot to, fade a team coming off of that. And I think, like I said, everything that you said is valid, but the line stinks. I mean, you hear that and it's like, yeah, like I would expect the Steelers to come in here, Mike Tomlin in prime time, tee off on them and do all that. But then it's like, what? So why are the Raiders -2.5? So also
I think
that's
it
just
should
like
be
a
more of a pick 'em. My brain thinks pick 'em. I don't. That's why
yeah,
the two and a
even
half.
with it being the Steelers on the road, exactly. I feel
Yeah.
like that should be like a pick 'em. So I see that and like a line like that and where it's just under a field goal too. That's like a
Mhm.
buy signal to me. And for what it's worth, sharp money. 53% of the tickets are on Vegas. 67% of the money
It's on
is on Vegas.
it's on
For what it's
Vegas.
worth.
I think Josh McDaniels will run a much better offense than Matt Canada. Matt Canada might be the worst OC in the league. Um, and I don't think it takes that much of a defensive effort to stop what they try to do. So I don't see them putting up as many points as maybe anticipated against that garbage defense. So they just
Yeah, and
haven't
I
really
do
shown it
think that is kind of an underrated
ever.
storyline in the NFL right now, which is Matt Canada being employed. It's like the Steelers fans have been asking for him to be fired for like a couple of years now. And I mean, you can even see it when you watch him. Like he's just it almost feels like watching the Patriots with Matt Patricia calling the plays, or even like those periods of time where of course as we're talking about picking the Raiders, but those periods of time where it's like, why is McDaniel running the ball on like 3rd and 17 or something like that when like we need to win the game? And yeah, it's like Matt Canada, he just like has like these like awful play calls. He plays way too conservatively. I'm not the biggest Kenny Pickett guy either, and yeah, I'm still not buying into the Steelers this year, even coming off the big win.
All right, Raiders. Let's do it.
All right. Let's go back. Let's go back to the wheels.
to the wheel.
This is for Bengals Rams. Rams at Bengals. Rams 2.5 at Bengals. All right, Tristan.
All right. This might be a square pick, but I am going Rams +3. Obviously there are concerns with Burrow and whether or not he's even going to be able to play. If he can't play, Jake Browning is the backup. He's the only QB left in the room, and he has thrown one pass in his NFL career. It was an incompletion, if you're curious. Even if Burrow plays, offense hasn't looked good. I certainly don't have confidence that the offense is going to look any better. With just the way he's trending. I also think about a Rams D line with a guy like Aaron Donald. Like I think about week 1, that clip. Obviously we were on the Seahawks, but Geno Smith seeing Aaron Donald coming through the hole and yelling, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Burrow's not going to be able to move. He's got a bad calf, so he's not exactly going to be very comfortable in the pocket. I think the Rams have also we talked about this after the first week of the season, but the Rams were a team that everybody was saying like that's a bottom 2 team, and quite frankly, they've looked tough. I mean, they had that unbelievable backdoor cover last week, but
yeah,
they were down 10, kicked the field goal to get inside the number, but I think they went into the half tied against San Francisco, which quite frankly was quite impressive. Stafford doesn't have Cooper Kupp, and he seems to have a really good connection with Tutu Atwell, and what's the other guy? The guy that had 15 catches?
Puka
Nakua.
Puka Nakua. They got rid of Cam Akers. They seem like they're pretty set with Kyron Williams. And this is a team that's just they're playing with some moxie, and the Bengals are they're licking some wounds. So I really like the Rams getting the points here. I know it feels like a square pick. I'm not shying away from it. It's just one of those things where I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, I don't think you overthink it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think just with the looming Burrow decision, I guess we'll know more tomorrow. I think they have to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess they can wait. It can be a game time decision, but he was saying today, Burrow, that he's preparing to play for the game. I think that's a lot of what else is he supposed to say? I don't know.
Exactly.
like it was like I saw a bunch of tweets being like, "Oh, he's in, he's playing," and it's like, well, he just said he's preparing, which like he could be doing if he knew he was out. I mean, like that's just what a professional quarterback does. Like I don't know, like he's gonna be doing it regardless, even if he's out for a month.
If Jake Browning gets hit by a bus tomorrow, they don't have another quarterback in the room. So Joe Burrow's
right? Yeah, but I just don't.
As if he's playing.
I don't think he's gonna play though. I mean, I think they'd just be so like to do that to your golden boy if his calf's getting sore after a game against, who'd they go against? Oh, the Ravens last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good defense, but I mean to have your calf be sore week 2, I just don't think bodes well. I don't think they're gonna rush him or try to force him to play. I don't think it makes any sense for their organization. So I don't think he plays.
Is there a butt coming? Are you going to do it again?
No. I'm with the Rams. I think it's nothing wrong with a square pick. If you have it up on the Action Network app or whatever, what is the money in the
money's against us.
Bet percentage. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, just to add on, I mean, not that my vote matters at all, but I was also on the Rams. I think part of it too is just, if we're going to be, following this format, we're taking the primetime games and we're going to lock in this pick. I mean, I don't want to be taking the Bengals -3, then all of a sudden Burrow's out. And, that's what we're locked into. So I don't even want to take on that risk, but, a public dog can be scary, like a popular public dog. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't really bother me. I think the Rams, they've been frisky. I think that this is what the Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl rematch, right? Yeah, they beat them. And so I think McVay, I think he's feeling it this year. I think, after last year where he was kind of thinking about, calling it quits, and same with Aaron Donald. I feel like they're kind of feeling the energy back. And, I agree with it, everything that you guys have said. So I was on the Rams as well.
All right. Rams it is.
Hard to bet on maybe Jake Browning. Just doesn't.
And I'm going to continue to ride the narrative. It's something that I've bought into all season, and we were talking about it in the offseason a bunch too. Where, sometimes that calf injury, just having that linger all season, can be worse than some other injuries, because it's like you're going to go out and play, and you're just not going to be 100%. And a lot of people. That's what I always say about Mike Williams, right? So when you look, it's like he always plays in these games. It's just that he's always playing at with some type of injury, so he's out there as like a decoy, and he's just not putting up the numbers. But you got to start him if he's your guy. So, I think this is one of those two where fantasy owners might be hurting all year too, because you're got to start Burrow if he's playing, but he's not going to be able to play at that expected level. So I'm going to continue to ride that narrative too. And I like what you were saying, Tristan. I think where Aaron Donald, it's like Burrow's just going to be a statue in there for him. So
yep. Cool. All right.
Cool.
We got our picks. Kieran, can you lock in that 5-game parlay for me now, just so I can get the number before if they announce tomorrow or anything? If that line changes, I'm gonna be really upset.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. That number's gonna really change if Burrow's announced out tomorrow or Saturday,
think,
right?
right?
I mean,
I would
has
think
to.
the Rams.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that. I wouldn't expect that to be something that's like currently. Maybe it's like semi-priced in, but
Yeah. I mean, I'd hate to be holding a Bengals -3 at like noon tomorrow. They announce he's going to be sitting out. That would just that'd really be a kick in the dick. So yeah.
Or at 8:15 on Monday night.
Yeah, right. Even worse. 0-4 reeling, and then fucking announce Jake Browning as the starter.
Yeah,
just the dagger.
Vibes are down.
Oh, shit.
All right, I'm putting it in right now.
Right.
So I guess I'll just do the quick picks recap as well, since I'm reading it down here anyway. So we got the Charger, or not the Chargers, Jesus Christ. Where is it? The Titans. Where the hell is the Titans? Okay, here it is. Titans +3.5. Pats -2.5. Cowboys -12.5. Raiders -2.5. Rams +3.5.
You got it.
I love it.
All right, I'll stop.
I think it's Rams +3 on the Circa.
Oh yeah, it is Rams.
It is. Yep.
And wait, let me check. Is that what it is here?
Damn, the line's moving.
Yeah, it's Rams
whatever
+3 on the.
3. All right.
Interesting.
All right. 5-0.
Cool. Yep.